Thank you, President. If we're talking about the creation of an asylum and immigration fund, that's like a sticking plaster on a gaping wound, because creating a single fund won't really help the fact that the EU is not coming up with any solutions for the problems encountered by member states when it comes to asylum and immigration. In fact, the EU is part of the problem. The fund is being set up. We've got new rules and procedures being introduced which are make it practically impossible for the member states to conduct their own immigration and asylum policy. Once again, we're hearing talk of legal immigration, and this is a slap in the face of the about 26 million people across the EU who are unemployed. And if we're talking about a common asylum and migration policy, member states have to be given the right and the opportunity to check their own borders once again. That's what we need. And once again, we're seeing the political autism on the part of the EU and the European Parliament in particular, which remains deaf and blind to the lamentations of the voters. If you look at the referendum in Switzerland on mass immigration, that should have been a warning, but it wasn't a warning that was heard. And look at what's going to happen on Sunday, the 25th of May. Thank you, President. First of all, let me say that the fact that each member state should be able to check its frontiers again. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we can't have any cooperation at European level to try to stem the flow of immigration into our continent. Now, look at certain member states such as Italy and Spain and others. We have to be able to support them. The other member states have to be able to support them, but each member state has to be able to monitor its own frontiers. And here, if we're talking about a country such as France or the Netherlands, that the situation there is quite different to a country such as Slovenia, Slovakia, Lithuania, for example. The fact that asylum seekers can continue to come in is something that very few people would dispute, because here what we're seeing is labour-based immigration, and that is entirely irresponsible in a situation when we've got over 26 million unemployed. Thank you, President. Well, it's a cheap rhetorical trick on the part of Mr. Tavares to pretend as if he's someone who is looking at the issue with an open spirit. I am, and look at the way that the policy has been pursued over past years, and look at the promises which have been made to people in Europe, to the voters, where it was said that when you get rid of the internal frontiers, that would be compensated by the fact that the external frontiers would be protected, patrolled, monitored in an effective way, but that's not the case. More than 900,000 illegal immigrants get into the EU every year. This is a figure that it's not my figure, it's a figure from Frontex and Europol, but here what we have to do is to take action, and instead of pursuing the wrong policy, we have to return to our previous policies. Thank you.